Okay, you guys should see my screen here. Just a couple housekeeping things real quick, and then we'll jump into this. I am Tim Fitzpatrick with Rialto Marketing, facilitating this workshop for SCORE. And I'm just I'm here for you. So I'm here to answer any and all of your marketing questions. This is being recorded. So if you guys don't want to be on video, please feel free to just turn your video off. Everybody's muted to keep things quiet. If you can do me a favor, just post any of your questions in chat, and I'm going to do my best to get through every single one of those in the next hour. So just post those in. I'm going to give you guys so there's a link here, and I'll post this in chat. If you guys want a lot of what we're going to talk about, I've put together just some various resources for you guys to help with marketing in general. All of those resources, if you go to this link here, and you want the recording from today, past recordings, because I do these every month, just put your name and email in here and click get the resources. Okay, you will go on our email list. If you don't want to stay on our email list, you just want the resources, that's totally okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Just opt out once you get those. But if you guys do want to take advantage of those, I'll post that link in the chat here in a minute. Other than that, start posting questions in, and I'm going to start answering them. So I'm going to stop this screen share, and I'm going to go into chat. So I just put the link for the AMA resources in there. Guys, just post your questions in. I'm assuming you've got questions, otherwise you wouldn't be in here. So don't be bashful. If you have a question, I guarantee you somebody else has the exact same question. So just pop those in. And while I'm waiting, I'm going to reshare my screen. So while I'm waiting for questions to come into chat, I'm going to go through just a couple things with you guys real quick. So when it comes to marketing, my philosophy is that the fundamentals lay the foundation for you to be successful long-term. There are a lot of people that struggle with marketing because they get tactical really quickly. You know, I've got to have a YouTube channel, or I got to be on Facebook. Well, if you don't understand who your target market is, and you don't have good messaging, clear and engaging messaging for that target market, and you don't have a plan of how you're going to get that message in front of those people, you will always struggle with your marketing. So the fundamentals, super, super important. The other thing I'll also tell you real quick about marketing, as far as I'm concerned, these are the main marketing channels. Every tactic is going to fall into one of these. So you've got strategy, those fundamentals in the middle, and then you've got your website. You have offline marketing, so direct mail, networking, speaking in person. Those are examples of that. Content. So are you doing blogs? Are you creating a podcast or video? Search engine optimization, which is helping you show up online. Your social media, email, and then paid advertising. You do not have to do every single one of these, be in every single one of these channels to have a successful business. So don't feel like you do. But I think it is really good long-term to have an omni-channel approach with your marketing, so that you're not just generating leads from referrals 100%. You know, if you're generating leads from referrals and social media and email, your business is going to be much more consistent, and it will be able to weather ups and downs because you're not just relying on one channel to generate leads. So I hope that helps. I'm going to jump into questions now because I see things are starting to pop in. So first question's from Rafi. Says, I have a gallery on my website with over 300 images. Okay, yeah, it's an art gallery. And I was wondering, how should I rename them? Yep, alt text, title, URL for best SEO. This is a really good question. For an art gallery, it's going to be a bit different than for what I would say, you know, a typical, you know, service or product-based business would be. And what he's talking about here is when you load images onto your website, you have the ability to, one, name those images. How you name those is important. And in most website platforms, you should have the ability to enter in what we call the alt text. And that alt text is what will, if somebody hovers their mouse over that image on their computer, the alt text pops up. It's something that helps people that use screen readers understand what that image actually is about. But Google can actually crawl that information. Google can read the title and the alt text. So when you're very descriptive about what those images are for, that can be a good indication to tell Google what's this image about. And if you've noticed, when you do searches on Google, there's a spot where you can actually click images. And if you've labeled images properly and you've got alt text in there, you're increasing the likelihood that your images may show up in search results. And when people click on those images, it goes back to the page that the image is on. So it's important to do that from an SEO perspective. Okay. And so what he's asking about is how can I do this? 300 images is a lot of images. What I would tell you, Rafi, is for an art gallery. Okay. I don't know if these are, I'm assuming, and if I'm incorrect, then you tell me in chat, but I'm assuming these images are from other artists and they are named. So that's what I would recommend you do, is use your titles to be descriptive. If the painting has a name and it's by a specific artist, I would get that information in the title and the alt text. Because in general, if people are searching for works from that artist and you've got their name in the title, that's going to be super helpful and that'll help it show up. It's not going to guarantee that it's going to show up. It depends on how competitive it is, but that's what I would recommend you do, is put that. I would use that in the title and the name of the image and in the alt text. So I hope that helps. The other thing I would also tell you, if your website is really image heavy, making sure that you're optimizing the images for speed, because if you just load those images at full res and they don't need to be at full res, it does run the risk that it's going to slow your site down. And if your site is slow, that's going to impact your ability to show up in search results. So there's a lot of different image optimization tools out there. If you just do a Google search for, website image optimization tools, a ton of them will come up. And all that those things really do is they basically, they reduce the size of the image, because you don't need a 5,000 by 8,000 image on your website. Nobody's screen is going to resolve it. So you want to make sure that you're bringing those image resolutions down. And then what the image optimization tools do is they eliminate some of the pixels, because you don't need every pixel for it to still look good on the web. So just keep that in mind. If you want to look at how fast your website is currently and what recommendations Google makes, you can go to Google Page Speed Insights. I'll type this in the chat. Google Page Speed Insights, just Google that. The other one that's really popular is GT Metrics. Those are two of the more popular ones. Pingdom is another one. I'll put that in there here. All three of those are tools where you can basically copy and paste the URL, put it in there, and they will test it for speed, and they'll give you your grade, and they'll give you recommendations for what you can do to optimize it. Images are a really common thing to show up in there, because if your image files are too large, it's really going to slow your site down. So I hope that helps. If you've got further questions, you just pop them in chat and I'll help you. So next question is from Joanne. Joanne's asking, I'm working on content for an information/travel article website with an emphasis on cultural heritage. Who would my target audience be? I've come up with older generations wanting to preserve their heritage and families with kids wanting to learn more about their heritage. Okay. Yeah. So I think you're on the right track. You're also so you've got content and information for travel art. Okay. So for travel articles, Specifically in cultural heritage, yes. So this could also be like, God, I'm trying to remember the name of the site, but there are sites where you can track your, you put in your DNA, right, and it gives you your heritage information, or genealogy. People that are interested in genealogy, where they're interested in um, where their family tree, how far their family tree goes, and people like that, I think could be part of your target audience. Now they also have to love travel, right? So you're looking for kind of that crossover with those people who love to travel, who are really interested in their heritage, and so that's where you want to hone in on. And I think you may have to test it a little bit, but that's you're starting off at the right spot. Then you're going to need to test it, because, like, for example, I'm trying to remember the genealogy site. I just don't know the name of it, but I would start doing some searches for genealogy sites
Mhm.
and travel sites, and see if you can find if there's any crossover there, because then you can start to target people um, who are fans of both of those. Does
Okay.
that help?
Yes. How about like museum audiences, like people that would go to museums and stuff?
Yeah, it could be, right. So I'm assuming, like, with cultural heritage, you're referring specifically to kind of their family history, right? Or
Not
does it expand from
necessarily.
there?
Yeah, more like informational on just like, people's like customs and celebrations and cuisines and things like that that are ethnic related.
Yeah.
And then, and then, I mean, I love that and I love learning about that. But my tie-in, I thought, would be, because I've been doing some travel writing, but I also want to niche down into travel,
Yes.
like writing about that specifically.
Yeah. Got it. So I honestly think you could target people that are interested in travel, and then from there, your message is it's either going to resonate with those people or not, but it's
Mhm.
going to be really specific to those people that love travel, that want to get into the aspects of the culture for where they're going, right?
Mhm.
So I think if you target people that are interested in travel, that's going to be a great place for you to start.
Okay.
And then as you start to build your email list, you start to build traffic to the website, then you can start to, so for example, if you put the Facebook pixel on your website,
Mhm.
you can then start to retarget those people that are visiting your site. But you can also create, with Facebook, you can start to create lookalike audiences, where you can say to Facebook, hey, I've got this audience of people that have been to my website. I want to target people that look like this, and Facebook will create that audience for you.
Okay.
So I would start. I look, honestly, I think there's enough people that are interested in travel who love the cultural heritage aspect of it, where I think
Mhm.
if you target people with travel in general, you can, and you then once you start to get that experience, then you can start to hone in and refine it. The other thing I would say too is, and this is just a guess, you can tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I also think that people that are interested in international travel
Mhm.
are going to be much more interested in the cultural heritage part of it.
That's a good point. Yeah, I agree.
So you could, within travel, you could try and focus on international travel
Mhm.
and then expand from there. But in the beginning, you're going to have to make some educated guesses based on the research and the information that you have, and then
Mhm.
test it.
Okay.
Does
Because
that
my
help?
key was to kind of get some basic content in it, in the website, and just get it out there.
Yes.
And then, like you said, play around with it and see
Yeah.
who's
And if
interested.
you have, you definitely want to have Google Analytics installed on your site.
Mhm.
And I would have the Facebook pixel, because even if you're not going to use it in the beginning, at least it's collecting data. But
Okay.
if you're using Google Analytics on your site, over time you'll be able to track where people are coming from, and that'll also give you a better indication of who these people are that are accessing your site.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay. Marielle, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. We usually do in-person or phone marketing. Yep, for your pharmacy services. Yep, but COVID, yeah, COVID's obviously thrown that out the water. What pivots do you suggest? Our population is typically middle-aged to older, so not always super tech savvy. This includes our conferences that have since turned to virtual conferences. So yeah, if you've been doing conferences, you absolutely want to shift that to virtual. Everything is shifted to virtual. So, shifting conferences to virtual, certainly not an issue. I would absolutely continue to do that. And I'm assuming, so pharmacy services, you're talking about people, I'm assuming you're talking about people refilling prescriptions and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and my name is actually Kang. Sorry, it's listed as Marielle,
Oh,
but
okay, cool.
our pharmacy services, it's more for long-term care facilities. So these are folks in assisted livings and such.
Okay, got it. So your clients are actually the long-term care facilities?
Yep. And then we usually work with a point of contact there, whether it's a director or a head of, something.
Yeah.
So those guys got hit especially hard. So, I mean, the game has
Yes.
definitely changed a lot.
Yeah, and you definitely in person, they're not letting you walk in there anymore. So,
Well, they still do a little bit, but it's kind of like a little hit and miss hybrid
yeah.
model right now. So uncertain hybrid.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing I would tell you. You know exactly who your target market is. Long-term care facilities. So, which is, I mean, that's niche. So, you know exactly who you need to reach. What you need to think about, I think, is we were reaching them in person. You can still reach them by phone, right? But they may just not be as available. What I would start to think about is where else are your ideal clients online? So these long-term care facilities and your contacts specifically, where are they? Who do they follow specific influencers? Where do they get their information online? Are they following certain websites? Are they subscribed to specific email lists? If you can start to identify some of those things, now you can start to identify some of the places where you need to be to get your message in front of them. I would also start to think about, can you start to create content that is going to help you get in front of them and add value to them and serve them, so that when they're thinking about, their pharmacy needs, they're seeing your information, they're going to think of you first. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think some of these avenues are whether it's these virtual conferences, word of mouth. I mean, I don't know how much they Google, but I think identifying that's a good start. Really good
It's,
point.
because the other thing too is if you have good relationships with some of your existing clients, talk to them, get their feedback. They'll give you the information that you need, and then you can take that and use that within your marketing. The other thing I would recommend you do too, if you haven't already, is in the long-term care space. I mean, look, there's all kinds of providers in the long-term care space. Start to identify some of those other providers and see if you can start to establish relationships with those people.
Sure.
Because those can all be really good strategic partners or referral partners for you that can help you get in front of the people that you need to get in front of.
Sure.
Because here's the bottom line is they still have a need, right? They're still in business.
Right.
Depending on what happened. And obviously I think that's starting to shift, right? Because a lot of the older population now, the vaccines are starting to open up, more of the older populations are getting vaccinated. So I think the situations in these long-term care facilities are going to start to get better. But even through COVID, they were still in business. I mean, they still had to serve their population as best as they possibly could. So they're still there. You just need to figure out, how can I shift what I'm doing to get in front of them? Because they still need the information. They still need your services.
Sure. Thank you.
Yep. Yep, Raf. So Rafi's coming back to the image optimization. Yep, she's talking about using Smush and WordPress. Yep, for optimization. So WordPress is the website platform that she's using. There are a ton of plugin options there. Smush is one of them. Trying to remember, the one that we use is called Short Pixel. But again, if you just Google WordPress image optimization plugins, ton of them. All of those will do a good job. Some are a little bit better than others, but they'll all do a good job of making sure that as you upload images, that they're being optimized. Okay. Yep, and then Rafi's got a follow-up here. Yep, my art gallery is showcasing artwork from, oh wow, okay, so this is really niche, from incarcerated individuals. So we know that our audience will enter the keywords, okay, prison art in Google. Yep, so I have been trying to put those specific words a bit everywhere in our website content, as well as the alt text of the images. Yep, so that's good. But we're still very low ranking in Google search. Yep, what else can you do to increase your ranking? You can start to put out content about prison art. Okay, feature. So this could be for you. It's, I mean, there's images there, right? But so you could take, you could start creating videos. You could start creating blog posts about prison art, right? So you could do articles, frankly, featuring specific artists if you wanted to, getting into more long form content. If you're using, what I would start to look at is what other terms are people searching for when they search for prison art. Obviously, you're opening my eyes. One, I'm not an art person, but I never would have thought that prison art was something that was out there. It is, and there's obviously enough people. But so like, if I look at this and just go prison art. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna share my screen here real quick so you guys can see this. Okay, so I just did a Google search for prison art. There's 3,600 searches a month for prison art. So that's not a ton. It's not bad, but it's not a ton. The cost per click is 12 cents. That's really low, really low. So that means that the cost that you pay when somebody clicks on an ad for prison art is 12 cents. That's incredibly low. So to give you an idea, like we have a client right now that's in the commercial cleaning space. They're paying like $18 to $20 a click. When you get into, like I have a client that's in property and casualty insurance. Some of those keywords are $70 to $80 a click range. You get into like attorneys, they can go over $100 a click. So 12 cents a click is crazy low. But here, so I told you about images. Look at these images just showed up in the search results. So if I click on these, it's going to take me to wherever Google pulled that image from, that's where it's going to go. But if I look at, so here's some other search keywords that you could look at: prison artwork, Chicano prison art drawings, prison art tattoos. That's probably not going to be relevant for you, but prison art for sale, 320. And by the way, this is a plugin that I have for Chrome from Ubersuggest. That's where, so it's automatically pulling this information in, which is why I'm seeing it in here. So if you don't have this, it's totally free. You can download it. The other were SEO Quake is another one that I'm using here. So you can see the keyword difficulty here is 76.4, which is fairly high. This is out of 100%. So the lower it is, the less competitive it's going to be. But this gives you an idea of some of the other keywords that people are searching for that you could start to use within your content. Because honestly, you really only want to optimize for a single keyword or a variation of that keyword on each page. If you try to optimize your page for like 8 keywords, you're going to have a really hard time. Google is smart enough at this point where if you rank for prison art, you're not just going to rank for prison art. Okay. Google will pull in other relevant terms there. So what I would focus on is like your main page. I think you want to try and rank for prison art if that's the main keyword that you want to rank for. And then from there, you can start to create other keywords that you want your other pages to rank for. And with blog content, you want to start to try and rank or target what we call longer tail keywords. So longer tail keywords are those 3, 4, 5 word keyword searches that people are taking. They're going to have lower search volume. But the people that typically search for longer tail keywords, it's very specific. So they're looking for really specific information. But so let me just give you an idea. So if we look at this, so prisonart.com. So here's another thing you can start to do. You can start to look at what your competitors are doing and look at what keywords they start to rank for. Ubersuggest you can use Ubersuggest for free. So let me just click on this. I want to go to this homepage first. And I'm not sure why this shows .mx on there.
Yeah, I think it's sorry, I'm Rafi, actually. I'm a female. Okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I think the first one that comes up is this one, but I think they're based in Mexico. That's why it's .mx.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we can go to Ubersuggest. And we can copy and paste. Mm-hmm. And with the free version of Ubersuggest, you're only going to get a certain number of searches. But look what just came up here. So I can see, and these are estimates, but their organic monthly traffic. So they're estimating that their monthly traffic is almost 3,900 visits a month. The domain authority is 38. Remember, this is out of 100. So 38, it's decent. Okay. As you start to get up over 50, in the mid 70s, those are high. That's pretty high. And then, your best sites are going to be up in the 90s.
What does that mean, domain authority? Sorry. So
what it means is this is how Google looks at how strong and credible this website is. So if a website is in the 90s, Google, that's like gold. Okay. Google knows that this is a high quality site, and the higher the domain authority, the easier it is for Google to list those sites in search, because they know it's a good site. They're not going to be sending somebody to some website they're going to get malware downloaded on their computer, right? Because that's all Google cares about. They want people to have a good user experience, because if they have a good user experience, they're going to keep going to Google to search. But so we can see the organic keywords. So the keywords that this website ranks for in some way, shape, or form, it doesn't mean they're on page 1, is 1665. Depending on it depends on your niche. In general, this is a fair amount of keywords. The backlinks, so is they have 406 backlinks. So they have 406 sites that are linking to their website. Okay, so and the more backlinks you have in general, the higher you're going to be able to rank and search. But for you, like you asked about, hey, what are some of the other things that I can do? You can use tools like Ubersuggest. SEMrush is another one, and I'll make sure I put that in chat when I stop sharing my screen. SEMrush, Ahrefs, these are all tools that we can use to start really getting some data. But you can start to look, so you can see what their top pages are, and you can start to see what keywords they rank for. Prison Art Mexico, prison purses. You're not doing that. prison artwork. And we can keep going down here. This will help give you an idea of some of the keywords they're ranking for that maybe you want to target. Okay. And you can do the exact same thing just want to go back to my original Google search. So we can look at who else is showing up in here, right? And this is another good way to give you an indication of how competitive is this, and how likely is it that I'm going to be able to rank in search results for some of these terms, and whether it's worth it, right? So look, I'm in marketing, super, super competitive, huge competitors, so for keywords like digital marketing or email marketing, the likelihood that my company is going to rank on page 1 of Google is pretty darn slim, because I'm competing against companies that are in the 90s from a domain authority standpoint. But I can target lower volume keywords, longer tail keywords with the content that we create and start to rank for those. So there's opportunities. You just need to know what you're getting into. So art news, domain authority 68. I mean, that's pretty high. 5,900 estimated visits a month. Prison art with an e.com. So this is another one that you could look at. That's a competitor. So interestingly enough, Etsy, right? Huge marketplace, right? Domain authority 92. So there are people that are selling prison art on Etsy. And then you see videos rank here too as well. See, so that's another reason. If you're starting to create content and you're creating videos, or you're creating, or you've got images, right? It's not just pages that are going to show up, it's other forms of content that'll show up as well. So that's where I'd recommend you start. Look at what your competitors are doing, and the ones that are seeing some results, getting some traffic, and then work your way backwards to figure out, okay, this is what they're doing that's working. How can I take some of that and incorporate it in what I'm doing? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Bear with me, guys. Okay, next question I got, Brian. Working on marketing costs. No background in marketing. Yeah, happy to unmute. Yeah, to ask the question. Yeah, you feel free to unmute if you want, Brian.
Kim?
Hey.
That was some great stuff you just did. The Uber suggest?
Yes.
I got 2 parts to the question now, because I got a question on what you just did. It showed the monthly searches in the CPC. Is that through Uber suggest, or was that a different program that was telling you that?
No, so hold on. Let me just go back. Oops. So sorry, let me share my screen again.
Sure.
So in here, so you're talking about up here?
Yes.
Yeah, that I believe is the Uber Suggest plugin. So I think when you download the Uber Suggest plugin, that will show up.
Okay.
Super
You
helpful
put that in
tool.
the chat, right?
Yeah. And that's a Chrome extension. So I have a lot of Chrome extensions, as you can see. And there's some of them are free, some of them are paid. Uber Suggest is a good one. This one up here, SEO Quake, is another one that I'll use. This one down here, this is the Moz plugin. So this one that's showing below each search result, that's the Moz plugin. And let me see, that's right here. So it's the Moz bar, M-O-Z-B-A-R from Moz.
Great. That's great stuff. So
Cool.
yeah, I'm new to marketing. When we launched, our early adopter sales came from QVC. So, they did all the work. But now that we're making the jump into mainstream, nobody knows who we are. So on QVC, you know, they told me we were getting 25 million views. So I'm trying to figure out mainstream how to build the marketing program to get a minimum 30 million views. And I'm trying to figure out what that costs.
And what are you selling?
We innovate in the water fountain category. So we made a product called Aquaflame that is designed to soothe anxiety and to boost morale through a decorative accent. So we built this water fountain that looks like a water candle.
Got it. And with the QVC sales, do you have all that customer information?
Fortunately, I do not. So I'm an inventor and I license my product to, I got 2 different licensees. So unfortunately, I did not get any of the sales data. I mean, I know how many they sold. We sold just a little over 400,000 units.
Okay.
But making that jump into mainstream, you know, we've fallen into a chasm. Because the mainstream customer is buying differently than the early adopters.
And are you planning on selling direct to consumer, or are you planning on selling through retail distributors? What are your thoughts there?
So right now, both licensees are B2B. So the marketing plan, trade shows, distribution, and inside sales, which of course last year all didn't do very well.
Yeah.
So they're all shifting into a B2C to launch the innovation. Because with the innovation, you know, it's a very visual product. You know, we're having obstacles in store with that 3-second preview of the box.
Yeah.
And with this being a new innovation, that's why QVC was so successful. So this has really opened my eyes into marketing.
Yeah.
To know, how do I reach 30 million people? Because we sold over 600,000 units. That's 25 million in sales, but nobody knows who we are.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah. Well, the one good thing, I'm assuming it's, since it was sold on QVC, like on your website, do you have the fact on there that you were sold through QVC?
Not directly. You know, QVC is really particular. You know, I could, you know, they put all the airings on YouTube. So I assume I could probably, without getting in trouble, you know, give the YouTube link.
Yeah. If there's ways that you could leverage the past relationship with QVC to establish some credibility, I think that's one thing that I would definitely take advantage of if you can. Because I mean, look, the fact that it was sold through QVC, I mean, everybody's heard of QVC. So if you can take advantage of that, I think that would help. But then I think the other thing you really want to hone in on is that go-to-market plan. So it's, you mentioned licensing. So have you licensed it to set distributors, or?
I have 2 manufacturers making my product. And,
okay.
And they're both set up for B2B.
But all they're doing is manufacturing it for you. They're manufacturing it for you, and then you've got it. And now you got to sell it through.
No, they're doing everything. Manufacturing, selling, you know, I get paid on royalties.
Okay.
But the problem is, you know, they're having a hard time, you know, sticking it into their B&B model. And they realize, hey, this really needs to go back to a B&C right now. But
yeah.
We don't have those programs. You know, and through all my advisors and the analysis that I've gotten, you know, they're like, well, nobody knows who you are in mainstream.
Yeah.
You know, you need more eyeballs on the product.
Here's what I'd recommend we do, because we could talk about this for a long time. I'm happy to do what I can to help you. Do me a favor, schedule a consult with me.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give you, I'll put this link in chat, because I want to make sure we get through everything, and I think you and I may dig deeper into this, because you have you have an interesting challenge, because the people you've licensed it to are having issues with the sell-through, right? And so they're coming back to you going, hey, we need help, right? And it's obviously in your interest to help them. But you can't actually go out and do it for them, right? So this
Sums
is
it
an
up pretty
interesting
well.
challenge. But okay, so I just put that consult link. It's a free consult. Just fill in the information. Giving me some of that additional information will help me. And then in that call, we can kind of hone in, and I'll do my best to kind of give you some ideas and some clarity on
Great.
what I would
Thanks a
recommend
lot.
you do. Yep. Okay, so yeah, cool. Okay, so Joanne's asking me, how did you get to monthly searches? Yeah, so
You kind of answered that when you
okay.
mentioned those, the Uber suggests.
Yep. How to
Yeah.
find, this is a good question though. So her follow-up question is how to find lower volume keywords. So this is when you start to get into keyword research, and you start to think about what are people searching for when it comes to larger terms, because with digital marketing, you have digital marketing, but then you have email marketing, and then you have, social media marketing, and you have email marketing. One of the great places to start, and I'm going to share my screen again. Answer the Public is a pretty interesting tool. So I can type in here email marketing. And then what Answer the Public does is give me all these different questions.
Wow.
So email marketing, who? Which email marketing services are the best? Why email marketing is important? Will email marketing die? When email marketing is considered spam? An email marketing agency, right? So it's crazy. So many people say they've got this roadblock of, I don't even know what content to create. Once you actually get into this, you will never struggle to figure out what the heck you need to write about, because there's so many different topics. This is a cool site. The other thing that I would also think about is, what kind of questions are you getting from current and past clients? Or, if you're in a specific niche, go into groups on Facebook or LinkedIn or forums and just look at what questions people are asking. Here's another good one, Quora. So if you go into Quora, you got to sign up, but people ask questions on Quora. It's a question and answer site. You could type in any topic, and they guarantee you there are questions in here, and you can just start to look. What questions are people asking? Then you can start to look at, okay, well, if I was gonna, so for example, email marketing is important. So let's go. Why is email marketing important? So we can start to look at this, 320 searches a month. Okay. And here you've got, this is a longer term keyword. You got four words in here, but I can start to look down, and you can see, here's another good thing. Longer tail keywords typically will have content, will be content based, right? So look at this. Inbound Rocket, this is a blog post. Lone Fire Creative, this is a blog post. So you can start to see, when you look in search results, what Google thinks people want when they search for this. They want info. They're looking for information in this keyword. They're not looking to buy. These are almost every single one of these. Yep, every single one of these is an article. Okay, but so there's a longer tail keyword, less search volume, right? Whereas, look what happens if I go into email marketing. 18,000.
Wow. Mhm.
Much more general,
Mhm.
lot higher volume. I can see, look at the ads, right? The ads are all from email marketing providers, right? MailChimp, Constant Contact, Campaign Monitor. But then look at this. So email marketing, Wikipedia, 98 domain authority. Opt-in Monster, domain authority 66. They have over 200,000 estimated visits a month.
Mhm.
Neil Patel, huge in the marketing space, domain authority 86.
Mhm. Wow.
And by the way, these estimated visits, that's to this page.
Wow.
Okay. That's not to his site as a whole. So MailChimp, domain authority 90, right? So for somebody like me, right, a smaller marketing provider, look, I'm not going to try to rank for email marketing.
Mhm.
There's so many high domain authority sites in here.
Mhm.
The likelihood that I'm ever going to rank for this is very, very slim.
Mhm.
See, and you can see here, right? These are the referring domains to this page. 850. So that means there's 850 referring domains linking to this page. It's going to take, now this is interesting, right? This one only has 43, but
Mhm.
they still have a really high domain authority.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to try to rank for that. I'm going to find some of these longer tail keywords that I can create content around that are going to answer a question. And then what do you need to do from there? What you really want to do from there is, if you're driving people back to your website and they're reading content, you want to have some types of calls to action in there.
Mhm.
So let's just click on HubSpot, okay?
Mhm.
And we'll see what happens. So they've got their articles here. There's a video. Let's scroll down. HubSpot usually has, this is a much longer. Yep. So look, email newsletter lookbook. They've got an opt-in for something of value that's free, but they're getting my name and my first and last name to opt in.
Mhm.
So they've got a call to action. They want to capture my contact information. You want to have calls to action to capture information from the content that you're providing, because you want to get those people onto your email list. Okay. So let's see here. We've got about 10 minutes. I just want to make sure. Does that help?
Yes, thank you very, very much.
Okay. Let me see. Yep. So Annie, please give some examples of longer tail keywords. So I think I answered that question. Using sites like Answer the Public or going into forums, your longer tail keywords are going to be 3, 4, 5, 6 words. And those 3 to 6 words are going to be that longer tail keyword. Okay. They are typically going to be, your head keywords are like 1, 2 words, much larger volume. The volume is going to depend, what's going to be a high volume for your niche is really going to depend. But typically a longer tail keyword may only have, less than 500. Some of these long tail keywords might only have 10 searches a month or 15 searches a month. And that's okay, because you're not just gonna rank. If you get a piece of content that ranks for a keyword, it's not gonna rank for just that one keyword. I guarantee it. Google will rank it for variations of that. And so it's not just, oh, I put down this piece of content and there's only 15 searches a month. But you know what, honestly, most websites, the average small business website sees like 400 visits a month. So, if you put out some content and all of a sudden you're getting 50 searches a month, you have 50 people a month coming to your website from that content. Well, shoot, if you only started with 300 and you get 50, well, damn, that's good, right? You're headed in the right direction. So keep it in perspective. Okay, so let's see, got that. What other questions do you guys have? We got through we got through them all. What else is coming to mind? Yeah, please. If you're unmuted, Annie, go for it.
Okay, hi, Tim. So in terms of the reason I asked for example, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
The reason I asked for examples is because I'll just ask it a different way. Should those 3, 4, 5, 6 words be very nichey for my particular product? Is that how to choose what word? Or should I the longer tail keywords in a question, like what is email marketing with the question?
It could be both, right? But when you think about content, your content, whether it's a blog or a podcast or a video, it should be educational based, right? You're educating people
As to what my offering is.
well, about what your offering is, but it could be specific to your product, right? Because for example, okay, give me an idea. What are you selling?
I'm a consultant.
Okay.
Organizing teacher.
Okay. So you're an organizational consultant. Okay. Well, before somebody might be looking for an organizational consultant, they may just be looking for tips on how I can get better organized. And not only that, you could get more specific. Tips on how I can organize my office better. Tips on how I can organize my kitchen. Tips on how I can organize my basement. It's a disaster, right? Now, the tips and the focus on your content is going to depend on how wide your organizational consulting goes, right? So if you're focused on, is it office? Is it consumers, right? So home consulting. So if it's home, obviously you're not going to talk about how to organize your office better. You might talk about how to organize your home office better, right? But so that's what you want to do. So like if we, let's just go back to Answer the Public again.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go to, and this might not be a great one, but we'll just put it in. Home organizing.
How about let's make it already specific, home office organizing.
Okay, perfect. So home.
What you're saying, I'm getting that you're saying more specific.
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah. So, okay. So I hit my limit and they're not letting me do it. So when you plug that in here, let's see if I hit my limit on Uber Suggest. So here's another way we can do this in Uber Suggest. So home office organizing.
Uh-huh.
So 2,900 searches a month. That's actually a little on the higher side. Yeah, difficulty here, paid difficulty. This is paid traffic, 100. The SEO difficulty is 44, so kind of middle of the road. I mean, that's fairly competitive. But so here's some additional keyword variations here. Home office organizing ideas, how to organize your home office, organizing home office desk, 260 searches, right? So some of these smaller ones, how to organize your home office, 210. Home office organizing tips, 90. Right? So you might create a blog post or a video that's 5 home office organizing tips. Right? So does that help?
So what's the 90 volume mean?
90 volume means how many searches a month there are for this exact keyword.
Well, don't you want it higher then?
Well, ideally you can, but again, if you want it to be higher, it's going to be the higher the volume in general, the higher the volume, the more competitive it's going to be.
Got it. Okay, got that.
Okay. So the more competitive it's going to be, the harder it's going to be for you to rank, which is why with our content, we want to focus on these longer tail keywords that don't have as much volume, but they may also not have as much competition.
Perfect explanation.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah. What else do you guys have? And by the way, this has been good. You guys have had really good questions, and this has actually gotten a lot more tactical than I normally get. So I hope walking through and showing you this stuff has been helpful.
Tim,
Yes.
those searches, are those national searches or are those regional?
No, that's national. So that's US based. And depending on, so you can, let me just see here. Yeah, during a month, depending on the tool, some of the tools you can change the searches and where they're pulling the data from. But in general, it's usually like a US based search. Okay, we got 3 more minutes.
I'll go with another question then.
Awesome, fire away.
So when you're putting a marketing plan together, do you do regional plans, or on social media, is it all national plans?
It depends on the company and what they're doing. So, for somebody like you in general, it's, if you're selling across the US, then, you want to reach people across the US. Now, depending on how large your budget is, right? If you have a large budget, well, then you can afford to start to look at and test things in more narrow markets, right? Or you may have to, right? Depending on how much money you have, you may not be able to target everybody. You may have to get more localized. It really just depends. But, so like for a local service-based business, well, they're just, if I'm a plumber in Denver, I'm targeting the Denver metro area, Now for my business as a consultant, we don't get niche like that. We work with people all over the country. It doesn't matter where they are. So, we're just creating, and, we're targeting specific types of people, and it doesn't matter where they are. And we can dig into that. When you and I chat, we can dig into that in a little bit more detail. So if you want to take advantage of the free resources, you can go to that link. If you guys have additional roadblocks and you want to chat, I put the free consult link in the chat. You can click on there, okay, and take advantage of that. I'd be happy to talk to you. There's no pressure from me. My company, we focus on the fundamentals first to get those in place, and then we can help you implement and get tactical. So we have a mix of done for you or coaching services if you want to do the work, but you want to get the outside eyes to know that you're doing it right. Okay. And we can meet you where you're at. Okay. So we work with some people where we just put a website together and they're paying us monthly to manage it. And then we've got people where we're their outsourced marketing department. So it really just depends, but take advantage of that if you want to. Otherwise, guys, I'm doing these monthly for SCORE, and I also do a specific topic on marketing each month for SCORE. There are other marketing topics that other providers are doing with SCORE. So keep an eye on that SCORE calendar and take advantage of these things. I mean, there's a lot of good information, but just don't get overwhelmed with marketing. It's very easy to get overwhelmed because there's so many different channels. There's so many different tactics. And every week somebody's telling you got to be on TikTok, or you got to be on Clubhouse, you got to have a YouTube channel. And you're like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. Well, when you're overwhelmed, you can't even create a plan, but you have to have a plan, right? So, and the plan you start with is not the plan you're going to end with. And so keep an eye out. Hold on a sec here. Let me find this for you guys. I'll give you one more thing of value, and then I'm going to get off so that you guys can get on with your day. But if you give me a minute, I will actually give you a link to a marketing plan workshop that I just did. So let me just get in the right spot here. and I'll give you guys the link to that. This is a Google Drive link, and at this Google Drive link are marketing plan resources. This is the same plan we use for our business and our clients. It is a 90-day plan, and it is a single sheet of paper. So, and I think it will really help you. So let me just find it really quickly. I'm almost there, guys. Marketing plan. Okay, I'm putting this in chat. Click on this link, copy and paste it. I'll give you guys 45 seconds or so, and then I'll jump off. But if you go to that link, it is the last marketing plan workshop that I did. There's a recording, and then there's the resources that we use. And I think that that will help you. Because you got to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're just, in the absence of a plan, everything looks like an opportunity. And that's not a place you want to be. So when you got a plan, it'll eliminate distraction. It keeps you focused on exactly what you need to do so that you can start to make progress. So I hope that was helpful. I'm going to jump off. Enjoy, and hopefully we'll catch up again soon. Take care, guys. Thanks so much for all the questions and the interaction.
Thank you.
Yep, you bet.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Loved it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yep.
Loved it. Great.
Cool.